And that's why it's so important to get alternative sources of information as they ran through the censorship agenda. But that's just the warm-up. Saying that they're going to ban X, that's just the warm-up.
We'll come back to Michelle discussing the X being banned in Canada. How ridiculous is that going to be? First, we're going to take a look at what Pierre Poilievre really thinks about the WEF. Like, this is Pierre's stance on the WEF. Let's take a look.
In a lot of Justin Trudeau's policy. And I want to be clear, I'm not talking about conspiratorial thinking here. I'm not talking about global cabals, but you do have, for example, the World Economic Forum, a group that Justin Trudeau and many people in his cabinet have actually promoted and actively participated in. We've got the Great Reset, stakeholder capitalism, all of these things. And you've spoken out, I think, about some of these even on the floor of the House of Commons. I've had people that have said that you yourself are connected to the World Economic Forum. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to address this head on, because I'm sure you've seen it as well. Is there a connection there? Have you ever spoken at a World Economic Forum event?
No, I have not. No, I've never been to Davos. I've never been part of the organization. And I don't agree with its publicly stated policy objectives. My policies are different. I obviously support small government, more freedom, and individual independence. So I just have a fundamental disagreement with the organization's policy outlook. And that is something that you can look at my track record. I've said that on the floor of the House of Commons. I said it in parliamentary committees. I've said it in comments that I've made online for years. So anybody who wants to know my position on that subject can simply check it out and look up what I've actually said, because I've been deadly consistent on that issue.
Hey gang, what's up? Aaron right here, Canadian Loony. Every time I make a Michelle Rempel Garner video, people always say, she's WEF. I don't think that's true. She won an award like in the 20-teens, 2016, I think, went to Davos, accepted the award, but she's no longer a part of that organization. Pierre Poilievre just won't have it.
It looks mercifully like Canada is about to go into a federal election sometime in the next few weeks. That's certainly what the rumors are. But folks, before that happens, I need to bring you up to speed on something really concerning, seriously concerning, and seriously troubling that could impact the federal election in Canada. Now, there are a lot of people who, they want the Liberals to win again, including the Liberals themselves. And the Liberals are becoming increasingly more desperate to win. So even though a federal election might be happening, folks, I need you to share this video and I need you to do something to help me get this word out. The increasingly desperate Liberals are signaling that they're about to impose even more censorship on Canadians. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what, and this is really troubling to me. I'm going to walk you through exactly what this looks like. But my whole pitch to you today is that as we go into a federal election, the Liberals are going to try and censor certain things. So I'm going to walk you through what they're planning on doing and evidence of that already happening. But in order for you to help me out, I've been trying to get this information to you through a prorogued parliament. And as we head into a federal election, I ask you to click on the link that's in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, click on it in the video description and click subscribe. This is my newsletter. It gets through social media platform, Liberal news bands.
Okay, guys, we're going to do this a couple of times. Like, Michelle has a lot of information to pass along, but let's take a couple of looks at her from back in the past when she wore these very, very noticeable dresses in the House of Commons. Michelle Rempel Garner, oh, you dog.
The health minister agreed to pay $237 million to Baylis Medical for 10,000 ventilators, although the devices were not approved in any jurisdiction. This, of course, is the Baylis Medical of Frank Baylis, former Liberal MP. So why was there a fast track for Mr. Baylis's device but no fast track for rapid testing that every Canadian needs right now. Why is a former Liberal MP with a technology that has no track record of being approved anywhere in the world getting a special deal?
She may recall in March, we went out to businesses right across the country and said we needed your support to build up personal protective equipment capacity right here in Canada. And they heard our call loud and clear. There are over 1,000 businesses that have retooled and scaled up their operations to make sure that we have the appropriate personal protective equipment for frontline healthcare workers, Mr. Speaker. And I'm very proud of that track record and will continue to support our healthcare workers and make sure we support the broader economy as well.
There are women waiting in line who can't afford to take time off of work today to get a COVID test. And some former Liberal MP gets his stuff fast-tracked, but rapid tests didn't happen, and that's just garbage. I just read, it's just breaking, that there's a global initiative that's about to send 120 million antigen tests, at-home tests, to developing countries around the world. Germany has bought 20 million of these tests, and so has France and Switzerland. Where are ours?
That old Navdeep Bains is hard to watch. Anyhow, back to Michelle Rempel revealing how the Liberals plan on banning Twitter. Censorship? Oh my lord. Here in Canada, it's ridiculous. They're going to shut down X? Give me a break.
And it's going to get through this censorship issue that we're seeing the Liberals do more and more of. So please click on that. Please click subscribe. It will help me fight back as we head into an election and as the Liberals push for more censorship. So here's two big examples of what they're proposing to do and something that they're already doing. So a couple of weeks ago, a very senior Liberal, he made this comment. He said, the federal government must make sure that they don't screw the thing up and make sure that we aren't denied our rightful place to make our own choices in the next election. What was he talking about? The platform X. He was saying that X should be banned in Canada. And that's becoming more and more of a topic of conversation among Liberals. They're saying that an entire social media platform should be banned. And when you listen to that quote, what are they trying to say? They're worried that social media platforms that allow for discourse to happen will be banned so that they can have more control of the message. Now, keep in mind that this is the same Liberal Party that rammed through Bill C-11, Bill C-18, these bills that change how you see information on social media platforms, and frankly also created the news ban on Meta and on Instagram. So they've already tried to censor social media platforms. They've had success in that. And now you've got a senior Liberal musing about banning X right on the eve of a federal election. And again, folks, this is why I'm trying to come up with alternative ways to communicate with you. So if they do things like this right before or even during a federal election, I can communicate with you. So if you click on the link that's in the comments or in the video description, it will allow me to directly communicate with you. It is free, and it allows me to get information to you during a federal election. The other thing is, I'll just make a point here, they prorogued Parliament. Parliament hasn't sat since the middle of December. This has eliminated my ability as a parliamentarian to call parliamentary committee meetings, ask for documentation, or scrutinize anything that the Liberal government is doing. For example, Justin Trudeau is ramming through literally hundreds of appointments as a lame duck prime minister. Are you hearing about that on any mainstream media channel? No, you're not. And that's why it's so important to get alternative sources of information as they ram through the censorship agenda. But that's just the warm-up. Saying that they're going to ban X, that's just the warm-up. Last week, one of the federal cabinet ministers that was involved in supporting the draconian bill C-63, the so-called online harms bill, you guys all heard about that. She came out and she said this. She said that the government needed to put more federal tax dollars into, quote, combating online misinformation. And this is what she said. The worst part, we have no control over these platforms, where they're headed, and how they will continue to influence our perceptions of the world. So how do we translate that? You have a federal cabinet minister who put forward and defended Bill C-63, that draconian online harms bill. saying that they need to put more federal tax funding against, quote, misinformation. And we all know what that means. That means any sort of discussion that holds the Liberals to account. They don't want that to happen, right? So again, this is why I need you to click the link that's in the comments so that I can directly communicate with you and show you these things, particularly in a federal election. Now, let me give you a real life example of what's happening and how all of this desire to control the media narrative and control what you see is coming up ahead of a federal election. And this is like a real life example. It's happening today. So many of you know that the Liberal leadership frontrunner is a man named Mark Carney. He's likely going to be coronated. He'll likely be coronated as Liberal leader on the weekend, on Sunday. And he'll become prime minister without having to go through the same sort of federal ethics screens that I have to go through as a member of parliament, because the law didn't foresee an unelected man who chaired several multi-billion-dollar companies who had financial assets being essentially appointed as prime minister without going through a federal election. So Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre, myself, other colleagues like Michael Barrett, we've been out demanding that he disclose his financial assets ahead of becoming prime minister. We've also been demanding that he answer as to why he moved a multi-billion-dollar Canadian corporation's headquarters from Canada to the United States right after Donald Trump was elected and after Donald Trump threatened tariffs on the United States or on Canada. Why did Mark Carney do that? Well, here's the thing. So when we talk about censorship and what that one Liberal minister was saying about controlling perceptions, do you see that type of conversation on the CBC News loop? Do you see it? Do you see the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation talking about any of these things? No. In fact, what we've been trying to do as Conservatives, and many of you will say like, well, what are you doing? Well, the Liberals prorogued Parliament, folks. They took away my tool as a sitting MP to be able to raise these issues in our House of Democracy, right? So the way that we've been trying to fight back is getting this information out through alternative media channels, right? Like the one that you're watching this on. But the thing is, if the Liberals go ahead and do things like ban an entire platform or put more money for combating online misinformation, I don't know what kind of information I'm going to be able to get to you, even in an election campaign. And folks, I know this sounds harsh. Like if you're watching this in Canada, you're going, this can't be happening in Canada. Well, folks, it is. You can't see news on any of Meta's platforms, right? The Liberals have gone out of their way. Like Bill C-63, right before the House rose in December, the Justice Minister tried to ram it through by unanimous consent. And it was just by, the luck of quick-witted Conservative MPs who opposed it in the House that bill wasn't going to be rammed through at all stages, right? And they're trying to ram through a law that's worse than what we're seeing in the UK or in Germany, where people can be, in fact, what the Liberals tried to do with C-63 is that you could actually be jailed for thought crimes. And I'm not making, this is all in that legislation. So folks, as we head into a federal election, I have one main ask for you. You need to help me fight back, help every Conservative fight back. And how I'm trying to do that is write directly to you, put together podcasts, but I'm also trying to get around all of these Liberal censorship bans. So what I need you to do is there's a link in the comments. If you're watching this on Facebook, click on it. It's free. It'll take you 1 second. Click subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link is in the video description. Click on it, click subscribe, and also share this information, share this video so that people understand that, if there is a federal election in the next couple of weeks, you're not going to see the full story on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. And the Liberals they've come right out and said it, right? First of all, they had two bills, Bill C-11 and C-18, that changed your ability to get information online, right? Then they proposed Bill C-63, the online harms bill, which would have made it more difficult for you to even speak your mind or question the government, right? Then they prorogued Parliament. They took away my ability. I represent 120,000 Canadians. They took away all of their voices, our collective voices, to question the government, to hold them to account. And now they're saying that they're going to ban X. They're musing about banning an entire social media platform and putting more funding into controlling perceptions online. So guys, how we have to fight back and how we have to be able to help inform Canadians as we go into a federal election is to make sure that you have information that's not what's being fed through liberal mouthpieces at your disposal. So I'm fighting back by giving you that information. So in order for me to do that, please click subscribe. Please tell your friends, ask your friends to click subscribe too. And if you're watching this, also just click subscribe to these channels so that you get notifications for when I'm coming live. You guys, the next few weeks, the next couple of months, if we are in fact in a federal election, this is going to be this is probably the most consequential election in Canadian history, right? There's a lot of stuff riding on this. And the way that the Liberals, the desperate Liberals, are going to try and cling to power is by suppressing voices like mine, suppressing voices like yours. And this is not an exaggeration. This is exactly what they've been doing over the last 5 years. So as we get it ready into a federal election, guys, help me fight back. Help. Please click subscribe so that I can communicate directly with you. Working hard for you. Have a great day.
We'll wrap it up just about right there. I've got a few things left to show at the end here. We've got another cute video with Michelle Rempel Garner. Back in the day, right? Wasn't that the way it was for everyone? Oh my. Anyhow, are we gonna ban X? We're gonna ban everything? Is that, we're just gonna censorship the hell out of these Canadians? Is that the way seems to be the way that it's going? Anyhow, my name's Aaron, Canadian Loony. Like, share, subscribe. What a crazy time in this country. Anyhow, that's it. Thank you for watching the video. Again, Aaron, Canadian Loony. Like, share, subscribe. Please leave a comment. Love the comments. Come and join us for one of our live shows. We're back doing that on the regular. That's it. Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you next video. Here's a little bit more Michelle from back in the day when we were all a little pretty. It was before the jabs.
We should all have had enough with this cabinet and this government's failed approach to economic growth while our country stares down the barrel of a looming recession. And it's this government's problem. They have failed to repatriate manufacturing. They have failed to inspire investment in our country. And they are making it harder for women in my community to put loaves of bread in their cart. And I've had enough. And people in this place have had enough, Mr. Speaker. And people across this country have had enough. So I challenge every Liberal backbencher here today, tomorrow morning is their caucus meeting, to stand up and say what that one person said off the record to a reporter. Enough with the woke shit. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I take that back. I apologize for my unparliamentary language immediately. I'm very sorry. Enough with the woke stuff. And get on with the plan. And it's right to be passionate with this because we have to do better things to protect Canadians from inflation.
In Canadian federal politics, the Canucks are represented by two separate yet unequal groups: the globalists who sold out and the opposition trying to salvage a country. These are their stories.